Ladies and gentlemen, it's a high time for us to start the final plenary session because we are 5 minutes late, so it's high time to start. And first of all, I would like to congratulate those who are still in here, who are participating in all the conference events. The 11th International Conference Rural Development 2023. And this conference actually was very special because it is the conference which is dedicated to the 100th anniversary of Vytautas Magnus Agriculture Academy. So it was really important for all of us to see you here. Actually, some information about how many of you participated here. So we had in this event more than 200 participants. Total number of the countries where we participated was more than 19, and it was all around the world, Europe, Japan, United States, and other countries. Actually, we had already a few days of the fruitful discussions here in the section work, in the parallel sections, in the triple helix stakeholder forum, which has just finished, and most of you participated. So actually, all of these events probably provided all of us with new knowledge, also created many thoughts about how to connect these dots for the bioeconomy in the Green Deal. Also, as one important message that I would like to say is that the main focus of our conference is sustainability. So the conference organizers try to be as much possible climate neutral. So of course, our goodwill is not always possible because we have all made at least a small print or a bigger footprint of the CO2 during our trips. So, however, to compensate this, we as a conference organizing committee, we will try to do our best and will contribute at least partially to the planting of the new forest area of 2, maybe to 3 hectares in spring of 2024 to reduce our impact on environment. Also, we really hope that our efforts will be supported by our stakeholders, which are the state labor, state forest office, also the municipalities and land owners who will let us to achieve this goal the next spring. Most of you probably participated in the conference sections. You have listened to the presentations here, but there was no possibility for every one of us to participate in all the conference events. So actually the aim of this final session is just to shortly present the work which was carried out in all 4 sections. In all 4 sections, and this work was actually yesterday. And what I would like to do now is just to invite 4 speakers. The speakers will represent each section that was carrying place yesterday. And the first speaker that I would like to invite is Professor Rimantas Vaisvilavičius and Dr. Aušra Rudinskienė, and they will present the main findings and the main issues that were discussed in the section number 1, Agro-Innovations and Food Technologies. So, you're welcome.
Hello, I think you hear me very well. So it's not easy to be the first. It's better to be the second, as I said, to see and to learn from other people. But it is my, I think, second time I am in the same section as a chairperson, so I have some experience and I can compare what happened 2 years ago or even 4 years ago. So I would say that this section is really very important from the topic because it is agro-innovations and food technologies. Of course, speaking about innovations, it's not maybe obvious that a lot of innovations we have seen or it was presented, but still technically or statistically, as you said, We had some presentation from such faraway countries like Japan already in our section, from Kyrgyzstan, and also some joint collaborative presentations where Lithuanians were in teams with, for instance, with Estonians, from Afghanistan. So I see that not only international conference, but people, researchers, they are collaborating in broader teams, not in local only, but also in international teams. And that is very good, because then we have more international and more not maybe high level, but topics and fields that are looking for the field broader than Lithuania. I would say that problems to be solved or to be presented, they also fit into the broader area. So 6 oral presentations, 4 was in person, 2 was online. With this online, I would say some technical aspects should be foreseen for the future, because always technical problems arises, and maybe it would be good to try before the conference if everything works right, and also if people can share their presentation, because was case with people from Kyrgyzstan, for instance, they couldn't share their presentations, and I, as a chairperson, and all my audience were listening just like me now, speakers without presentation. So it's more difficult to understand, but anyway, people from Kyrgyzstan, for instance, they were very happy, because it's very interesting for me was that they do not have a lot of possibilities to present the investigations. Practically in their own country, in their own language, and maybe in Russian language. So English language and possibility to present in Lithuania as a Western country, a member of European Union, it was a good bonus, I would say, for them. So 6 oral presentations. I hope they were the best, but also very good were 19 posters. So 2 years ago we had only 12 posters, and this year we had 19 posters from different countries, and very active were our neighbors from Latvia, 5 presentations, also from Japan, from Czechia, and 1 joint Lithuania with Poland. Also, we did this session also together, because some people were present at poster session, and some of them had possibility to show their posters and to comment online. So it was very useful. Only also from point of view of technical, those posters were into small letters. So should be also this technical problem solved for the future. But idea is good, but visibility of the posters could be better, I would say. Now speaking about thematics, so they were very different, but I would say mostly some methodological, how to investigate some mean and how it works on different plants, on food, so mostly methodological investigations. And it is very interesting that in the case of our Lithuanian colleagues, we started to investigate quite new plants also for me as an agronomist. For instance, milk thistle or kernza. Have you heard this name before? Kernza. Kernza, so new, interesting, promising for different purposes plants coming into our country and in our neighbors' countries. Also, in the case of Latvians, they paid attention for people with different problems, for example, with diabetes or psychiatric disorders. So very, very broad range of topics discussed, and I would say that our room was not full, but about 30 people participate in this thematic section, so I think it is good to have such a big audience, and people were active. I asked them to give questions, and they followed my suggestion. Were questions for the presenters, discussion, answers. So I would say it was successful meeting, and hope it will continue in 2 years. And also I would like to ask Aushra, as a younger colleague, she is afraid, but I hope you will say 2 or 3 sentences. Aushra, try. It's not difficult. You have microphone. And
Hello. I too want to say that new plants is milk firstly and cancer is discussed, and successful discussion and collaboration throughout of time where we explore the fortunes of agriculture innovation and the limitless potential of food technologies, from sustainable farming practice to cutting edge to digital solution. We are seeing how collective vision and decision can reshape the future for food production. So the connections made and friendship formed at the knowledge share are the part of this event. So thank you.
And may I tell some maybe more funny things at the end? For me, very interesting was that in some countries, you know, there are different lifestyle and different rules, and only in conference like this we can not maybe understand, but to hear about that. For instance, in some countries, people are forced to use not so much calories. In Lithuania, we can buy, we can eat. Nobody tell you how much you have to eat. But in some countries, government intervenes into the people life, and also researchers helped, I would say, to the government to prove this different ideas that we are used to have in Lithuania. So it is good time to meet people from different countries, and not only to see what they are doing, but also to understand their mind, and of course maybe to start collaboration, who knows. Thank you very much. If someone has questions, I would be glad to answer if there are.
Are there any questions, please? No, so maybe I would have a question, because you mentioned that you are supervising the section work for a couple of years. So how would you name what are the trends in the section 1 work in agro-innovations, if it is possible to do it shortly?
So if to speak about trends, we have to follow the same, I think, themes, the same people, but people, teams are changing, so they're presenting different things. So it's not easy to catch what is the trend, but the trend it is to fit into this climate change situation, to find some new plants, to have healthy production, to have it maybe cheaper, and some new products. So novelties that help for the society to fit into the new condition of changing climate and social, economical also conditions, I would say.
Okay, thank you. Nobody else? Okay, so thank you, Rimantas, very much for your short introduction about the section work. As a representative for the second section, for the biosystem engineering and environment integrity, I would try to present also to all of you the topics and the new issues we had in our section. Yes, okay, so actually I am the representative for the section 2, which is biosystem engineering and environmental integrity. And actually yesterday we had a very fruitful time in the discussions in our section, and actually I would like to start maybe telling you, for those who did not participate in the section work, about the topics that were analyzed during the section work. And actually what you can see in the slide that is currently here, that actually our section was divided into 2 subsections, and the main topics which were analyzed in the section 2.1 was agricultural machinery and technologies. It was also the durability of engineering structures and sustainable construction. And one more topic was the sustainable management of water resources. So we had multiple presentations which really reflect these conference topics, and I will show you these presentation titles a little bit later for all of you. Another part and another subsection was more oriented towards the energy processes in biotechnology. Also, there were couple of presentations that were related with the sustainable land use and land use planning, and also the advanced geomatics. Also, there were presentations regarding the power and transport machines, reliability of the mechanical systems. Also, a special attention was also paid to the renewable energy sources, how we can use them, what is the potential in Lithuania and Latvia and other conditions. Also, one more aspect that was also the topic of the plenary session was the migrant immigration. So we had also in our work a few presentations that were dedicated to the safety of environment and technologies, and of course also one more topic that was related and the presentations that were related to sustainable animal husbandry. I want to show you maybe just a few numbers which reflect our session work. So in total we had 13 oral presentations. 3 more presentations were presented orally in online form. Also, the section work was rich of the poster presentations, so we had 12 of them were presented, and the scientists who participated in the section work were from 6 countries. So it was most of the people were from Agriculture Academy, so Lithuania. We had also some guests and participants from Latvia. We had a guest from Finland, from Ukraine, from Poland, and from Croatia. Okay, so variety of countries and the speakers in the section. Also, shortly, I tried to maybe find the keywords which would reflect the main topics of the biosystem engineering section. So these keywords would be the mechanization of agricultural operations. Also, a special focus was dedicated for the smart engineering technologies, the use of various sensors, the use of drones for spraying, and similar topics. Also, what I mentioned, the keyword would be the agricultural safety. There was a focus on that. One more keyword could be the engineering structures. These are related mainly to the buildings who are related with the water engineering. Also, renewable energy and the biomass was also the trend in the section work. Also, all these topics altogether have, analyzes the question of the sustainable use of resources. So this was also the keyword, and energy production and landscape planning. So these were the main issues that were analyzed in these two subsections. What I would like to shortly introduce now is what were the topics on which we had really fruitful discussions in the session work. So I have maybe highlighted the keywords once again in the titles of the presentation. So we had actually a presentation which had a title that efficiency of mechanized collection of wheat, soybean, and maize straw. So how we can collect it more effectively, how we can get the better yield. Another topic which was also presented, it was the spreading control of granulated bio-waste fertilizer using the modeling DEM method. So actually the granulated bio-waste fertilizer, this topic is really an issue these days, and how to model the spread of the granules on the field was presented that these things can be easily done by using the mathematical methods and to make the simulations not in the field but on the screen. Also, as I mentioned, one more topic was related to the precise agricultural technologies. So it was the spraying drone and its use, how we can use it for the spraying of the agricultural plants. Two topics and two presentations were related to farmer safety. So the colleague from Finland shortly presented what is the what is the impact of safety communication on machinery injuries among farmers, and its interesting results, how different countries collect this data, how the analysis is done, and what other countries could benefit from this good practice. Also, it was mentioned during the forum previously that we have to prepare our students to have these multi competencies. Yeah? So also there was a presentation which analyzed the growth paths tools for young and developing farmers, and the interesting tool, farm task mapping, was presented that farm managers, farmers usually lack some of the competencies that are necessary for the farm tasks, for example. Yeah, and the last one was also related to the precise engineering and precise agriculture, the remote sensing for the optimization of the energy crop yields. Also, some other topics, and we had, I think, 4 presentations that were focusing on the concrete structures, the durability of these structures, and actually also special attention was focused on the forest-related impacts on water quality in forest drainage systems. Of course, one more topic that was also related, maybe not with the agriculture, but with the transport. So it was the sustainable mobility solutions in the transport sector in Lithuania. Another part of the presentations and the topics that were presented actually were connected to the use of biomass, with the efficient use of the resources for the heat production, also for the biomethane production, for the biogas production, and similar topics. Also, a colleague from Latvian University also presented the interesting topic, how to sustainably use the resources. So there was a presentation that was related to the good practice, how the use of paper, how we should use the paper in the era of digitalization. So that was the case study in Latvian University. Another thing that should be mentioned and which was presented is that some of the topics were also related to agriculture and animal husbandry. So the presentation, which was dedicated for the creation of the smart cow sheds, how these processes should be carried out into these cow sheds, and similar questions. And also the land planning topic was also the issue in the conference work. So actually the colleague, the participant presented how in Vilnius and Kaunas districts, trees and shrubs greenery area changes during the last few years. So that was the main issues and main topics, but concluding all of this, I would say that actually the key point to which the work in our section was focusing on is that if we compare, for example, the conference which we had a few years ago and which we have today, actually the demand of these precision technologies is increasing. So scientists and conference participants presented their research in these areas. So finalizing the presentation, I would like of course, say thank you for the experiences for those who participated in the section work, and of course to everyone in here. Thank you very much also for the sharing your knowledge, because it is an engine for the development, and of course thanks for everybody for participation. So that was my short introduction of the section number 2, Biosystem Engineering, and if anybody have any questions, you're welcome. Okay, nobody has questions, so we are then moving very fast to the section number 3, which is multifunctional approach for sustainable use of bioresources, and I would like to invite Michael Manton to shortly introduce us with the work you did in your section. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. Nice to see you all still here and awake. Okay, it's not this one. Been a very intense couple of days. So, I'm here to present multifunctional approaches for sustainable use of bioresources. It included 6 subsections, which really takes in a whole ecosystem approach, looking at different aspects from biodiversity, sustainability, monitoring and managing ecosystems, forest resources, productivity, managing conservation, wildlife issues or challenges, and for finding solutions, also looking at ecosystem services, and also aquafarming, which is quite a fun topic. So we actually looked at a whole unique ecosystem of multifunctional landscapes and how they fit together. So in our section, there was 2 sections joined together. So I was in one section and Professor Gediminas Brazaitis was in another section. So we tried to pull this together, and I'm not going to go into exacts of every single poster and presentation, but we had 17 in-person presentations with nice discussions afterwards. So everybody who presented actually got to discuss afterwards. So it was very, very nice for knowledge transfer and learning and sharing ideas. We had 2 online presentations and 16 posters, which, due to the poster restrictions, we ended up turning them into basically PowerPoint presentations. So they were more than just posters. Mainly the colleagues were from Lithuania and Latvia, so it was quite nice Baltic contingent without Estonia. We also had undergraduate students presenting, all the way up to professors, researchers, and so forth. So we actually had a spectrum of people who was presenting the presentations. So we were able to learn from each other and different perspectives. So if we think about what all our topics were on, it's really about sustainability, bioeconomy, ecosystem services, multifunctionalism, how we can actually manage the landscape. So a lot of the presentations brought different aspects which you could bring together in the landscape. So if I just take, this is just a couple of, like several of the presentations, there's too much to go into, but we looked at solar radiation and how cancer is becoming a problem through to more sunshine and also to other effects, and how this is having an impact on human well-being. So, social system, we have a look at migrating geese damage on agricultural land. So here we take in nature, the ecology, and also the system, and how this is affecting farmers. What ecosystem services are they getting, and what disservices are happening? We also looked at the impact of mistletoe in Latvia. It's a protected species, but it's also killing lindens and poplars. So they don't have any control measures, so there needs to be some changes in policy. Or we look at Lithuania and the reforms in forestry and how they're improving forest governance and forest management under a short time. So it's very interesting. You can see how the reforms happen, and also not only in forestry, but maybe you can also see in wildlife policy. We looked at soils and how this impacts different compounds, how we can improve soil in forest ecosystems, agriculture as well. We also looked at the introduction of beach. So this touches on climate change. Our seasons are changing, we're getting warmer. The natural distribution, genetic diversity is changing, so we're able to get species into new places we haven't had them before. So we looked at propagation of beech in Latvia. Interestingly, biodiversity trees from beech are very good, but not so good for the timber yet. We also looked at the importance of biodiversity and genetic diversity, so at different scales, going from genetics to a landscape. And what we noticed is that the supply of natural resources is not meeting the demands of what human society wants. So we have many challenges, and a lot of the research that we have is actually trying to focus on challenges to provide solutions. So and most of the challenges come from human activities. So we cause the impact to try and repair it. So the aqua presentation we had on fisheries in ponds, we had a nice, beautiful image there saying that fish need light, they need water flow. they need oxygen, they need carbon, depend on stocking density, feeding rate, pH. We can actually translate ourselves into the position of the fish. So we're like fish. We all have different benefits from the ecosystems that we need. So sometimes we need to think outside of our little box to actually see what's happening on a multifunctional landscape. So from multifunctional landscapes, we need a diverse range of goods. We need to try and emulate nature, the natural patterns and processes. We need to actually create useful tools that can support the bioeconomy. If we talk about trading carbon, what's the use of having carbon if we can't exchange it? A farmer's not going to protect something if he's not getting an income. And to get carbon, normally you need to protect something. We need open, transparent policy, not top-down policy. So we need innovation. That's what this conference is about, innovation, sustainability. We also need stakeholder engagement. And then we need to look through social ecological systems. So look through the social ecological sides and how they deal with ecology. So we need to put it together and not silos them. We need transdisciplinary research. And finally, my last slide is some key words that we had come up. So we have bioeconomy, we have soil, agriculture, sustainability, forests. I think it's quite good. This is just taken from the title, so we have some very nice key words of what the Rural Development Conference was actually all about. And because it's nice and warm in here, this is where I'm finishing up. So if there are any questions.
Yes, are there any questions? No? Thank you, Michael, then, for creating an image for us about your section work. Yeah, and we have the last presenter now, which will present us the section number 4, which was related to the social research for sustainable bioeconomy and climate change. And the presenter is Professor Vilma Atkočiūnienė.
So, dear colleagues, dear guests, and others who are participating these 3 hard days in our international conference, and our section of social research for sustainable bioeconomy and climate change. From the first view, one was observing previous presentations. So everywhere I found the social sciences, and I said where we are going, that we are going to interdisciplinary, and we are going to the collaboration between scientists and practitioners. And the first, our subsection was rethinking agriculture, rural development policies and institutional frameworks. And the main keyword was rethinking. And when we are thinking about main issues arised, so it was discussions and scientific results about farmers' activeness, foreign trade and of agriculture and food products, and agriculture production catalysator during the COVID-19, change and innovation potential in agriculture during last decades, factors influencing the adaptation of agro-environmental subsidy, and of course corporate social responsibility. And when we are looking to the main ideas and main findings, I am very thankful for coordinators of subsections which identify these ideas, and I think that they are very horizontal, and in a lot of subjects we can find these tendencies. So there is a still lack of active communication active communication between institutions, policymakers, researchers, scientists, and farmers. And today in the political forum it was said that the communication, consultations, it is the main driving force for the bioeconomy development. So now we are looking how to organize this communication and what social innovations we need for the successful communication. The question remains open: who should pay for long-term research for agriculture? Institutions, policymakers, researchers, scientists, or farmers? How should we collaborate that the obtained research findings would be easily rendered to wide audience and easily understood, especially by farmers? So again, about the communication. And another idea, it is COVID-19 less affected agri-food products, agriculture sector than non-agriculture sector, and the corporate social responsibility should be more disclosed to the reporting. Social responsibility reporting. So two more subsections. It is social innovations for greening the economy and resilient and sustainable food systems development. And what we have here, we have some keywords and of course some statistics what it was in is this subsections, and of course it's difficult to see. Sorry for the slides. Startups, requirements, a lot of different soil tillage systems and other agriculture technologies. And there in this subsection we had presenters from the different countries as in another subsections, just it was lack in some sections of Estonians, and this subsection has the presenters from Estonia, from Germany, Slovak, Poland, Latvia, and of course Lithuania. And the main questions which was discussed in this subsection: what determines technological progress? Is it progress, or is it again intensive farming and intensive life? How the technology is changing? Do we as persons, as community, as a government, as businessmen buy recycled, and do we planning to recycle? How big is the green bonds market, and why proactive communication is important for farmers and users, and how to start a business step by step, and to make some plans and prognosis for that. So the last subsection is smart villages, alternative models for development of rural areas. So we are moving to the territorial space, and trends of market development, challenges for bio-based products in sustainable value chains. So you see that these subsections, they are correlating, and in different sections we had the same objects for the research. So here we again have some statistics. So I always like to count not in quantitative dates, but in qualitative dates, and always it's important to know the tendencies and to know the novelty, what we found out. And so when we are talking about smart villages, so one of the strategies is thematic villages development and for sustainable development of rural areas, and it was based on the dissertation as a presentation. And again, here we have communication involvement, participation, and from this scientific work, it was found that weighting involvement of the actors of the thematic villages in the activities of the thematic villages is a critical point for the development, critical factor for the development. Critical number of the actors of the thematic villages involved in weighting manner must be ensured. And when we are talking about the migration, yes, when we are talking about local people who are born and live for all the time in the village, so this is critical number of the actors, and the more stakeholders are involved in the village activities, the better they understand the problems that need to be solved, and combining the environmental, social, economic, and cultural dimensions of the sustainability. And last point we discuss, and I think that it's again very common for the development process, that more actively interested parties participate, the more strongly they feel the results of the sustainable development of the rural areas. So one more topic, it's strengths of market development, and here I choose my presentation, and I thought that from other presenters I again get support of these ideas. So development of cooperative short food supply chains in context of circular food system, and food systems may be organized to design out waste and pollution, to keep products and materials in use, and to regenerate natural systems. And the potential areas of cooperation in the food system can be distinct. It's accessing and sharing resources, so we are very close with the share economy, improving operations, maintaining relation with the consumers, again communication, consultations, involvement and participation. It's very important of consumer communities and the sustainability and resilience of farms. About sustainability and resilience of farms was a presentation about regenerative agriculture development, and this presentation was from our partners from Nitra University. One more tendency, it is identification and assessment, as in the first section it was that scientists are working on the methodology, how to estimate, how to monitor, how to use these results for the decisions, for the decision-making system. And here it was based research on the cases from Poland, and identification and assessment of pro-environmental activities in bakeries and confectionery in Poland. And the main conclusions was that pro-environmental activities of analyzed bakeries and confectioneries include a reduction of electricity consumption, solutions for cheap electricity intake, water conservation, waste segregation, and rational waste management, and developing new methods to replace plastic packing with environmentally friendly packing. So I didn't pay a lot of attention on the posters. Sorry for that, it was too short time, and sometimes oral presentations, I think it is attractive and paying our attention more. And thank you very much for participation. Big thanks for organizers. And another thing, it's very important in our world is to share and grow up together, and this collective knowledge about where we are going, how we are going, and with whom we are going. It is very important, and it is small part of our scientific mission. So thank you very much. Special thanks for the coordinators of the subsections, and they helped me to present today.
Yes, thank you. So as we are almost on time, we got only a couple of minutes left until the scheduled time. So we have heard the short remarks from all the sessions. We have understood probably that all these topics which were analyzed are interrelated. So I think that is a great chance for us to work in cooperation in the future work. And also I have a great pleasure to announce for everybody who is here, because we are, as we had this conference now, we are looking to the future, and we wish that you all will come back to our university, to Agriculture Academy a few years ago. So we announced that the next conference, Rural Development 2025, will be held on approximately the same time on the year 2025 in September, at the end of September. Yeah, and we are looking forward seeing you here. Also, continuing the idea of Professor Vilmot Kočiūnienė, I would like also thank to everyone who participated in here, to all of you. I would like also thank to all the organizing committee and the scientific committee, because this conference would not have been possible without the input of many people who were doing their input into the organizing of the conference. Also, a special thanks for our social partners who support us. There were many people discussing in the panels in the Helix Forum, so also thanks for all of them. So actually, this is all I wanted to say. It's exactly 6 p.m., so I think it's time to finish. And I really wish you all the best. Looking forward to seeing you here once again, and I'm saying you goodbye.